Tonight, Money in the Bank airs from Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. This is the first pay-per-view event since WWE returned to touring Friday night on SmackDown. Friday, they were in Houston. Tonight, they're in Fort Worth, Texas. They're in Houston for SmackDown, Fort Worth, Texas for Money in the Bank. It's their first pay-per-view since returning to touring. It's a big deal. I'm very excited about it. We're going to be doing a watch-along and a post-show reaction stream, so be sure to check that out. But what we're going to talk about in this preview video is the WWE Championship, because tonight the WWE Championship is on the line. The almighty WWE Champion Bobby Lashley is defending against Kofi Kingston. Now, there's been a lot to be said about this one. There's a lot to be honest, there's a lot to be said about Monday Night Raw in general right now. I am beyond fascinated to see how Monday Night Raw plans out now that we're returning to touring, now that we've got live fans back inside the arena. I'm fascinated to see how this plays out for Raw, because I struggle still to kind of wrap my head around who would purchase a ticket to watch that show. I mean, honestly, I still struggle to wrap my head around that, because I can't picture someone paying their hard-earned money to watch an episode of Monday Night Raw live. I mean, it's just, that show is insufferable. That show is so difficult to watch, and even a good Raw isn't even comparable to, say, a good episode of SmackDown, let alone another company. It's crazy. Now, the recent storyline on Raw when it comes to the WWE Championship has been that Kofi Kingston, he's going to be challenging Bobby Lashley. Now, of course, this stems from the build to Hell in a Cell, to be honest with you, because, of course, Kofi Kingston does own a victory over Bobby Lashley, and that led to the whole #1 contender stuff, which McIntyre eventually won. Lashley defeated McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, so he's got no more opportunities at the WWE Champion whilst Bobby Lashley is holding the WWE Championship. That could change tonight, certainly. But we've got Kofi Kingston being the next challenger. He challenged Lashley on the episode of Monday Night Raw after Hell in a Cell. Lashley accepts. I guess the story in this one is that Kofi Kingston's been telling Bobby Lashley, you're soft. You've gone soft. You won the WWE Championship back right before WrestleMania, and you've got comfortable. Yes, you've beat Drew McIntyre 3 times in a row. Yes, you defeated Braun Strowman, but you've got comfortable. The almighty WWE Champion doesn't exist anymore, because we've seen Lashley in recent weeks has turned into, I guess, a jacked up version of the Godfather, in the sense that this is a guy that, instead of wrestling matches, and he has been doing matches, yes, he had the Hell in a Cell match against Xavier Woods, etc., but the story's been that he's lost his edge. He's not focusing on the WWE Championship. He's not focusing on competition anymore. Instead, he's focusing on Lashley's ladies with MVP and the VIP lounge, and every single week Lashley's got his gaggle of females around him, and he's not focusing on anything else. And this has led to a couple of defeats for Lashley, specifically this past week on Monday Night Raw, where Xavier Woods pinned Bobby Lashley, and I wasn't massively, I'm not massively keen, I must say, on that, but I get it. And what I mean by that is, I never want to see the WWE Champion losing. I hate seeing champions losing on television, whether it's the WWE Champion, whether it's the Cruiserweight Champion, US Champion, Intercontinental Champion, whatever. It bugs the hell out of me, because I think it makes the champion look weak, and I know it's such a crutch for WWE that, well, you beat the champion, so you've earned yourself an opportunity at the championship. It's dumb. It's so dumb, and it's so silly, and again, I understand WWE's logic in trying to do it, but it's such a crutch. They do it so often. And usually I would be against that, especially for a champion like Bobby Lashley. I mention this all the time. How can you call yourself the almighty WWE champion if you're losing all the time? So I usually wouldn't be for that. But I think in terms of the story that they're trying to tell here, I think it made sense. I do think it made sense. And I think it made sense in the sense that Lashley kind of believed what Kofi said afterwards. Lashley realized, actually, Kofi's right. Because after losing to Xavier Woods at the beginning of Raw, the closing moments of Raw was another episode of the VIP Lounge with MVP. Lashley came out and he was upset. He wasn't happy. And he said, look, this BS has to stop. It stops right now. We need to get back to business. And he arguably, I mean, not even arguably, I think he cut the best promo of his WWE career. Now, he cut some pretty good promos, actually, in Impact. And I know people will say that promos aren't Lashley's strong suit, and they're not. You know, the presentation of Lashley is, and his in-ring work is far better than his promo. But his promo on Raw on Monday was very good. of him saying, look, enough's enough. I need to go back to being the almighty WWE champion. I need to go back to being what made me the champion in the first place. And that isn't being in the VIP lounge of all of these ladies every single week. That is me beating the hell out of the guys, defending the championship, and taking no prisoners. So I think that's right. Now, I know some people said, oh, does this mean that Lashley and MVP are splitting up? No. The answer is no. And if WWE were to do that, that would be beyond foolish. And I don't think that's the direction they're going in, to be honest with you. So I don't think that MVP and Lashley are splitting up. MVP is too valuable to Bobby Lashley. I think Lashley's success has been because of MVP's guidance, because it's a work. But I mean, just in terms of the presentation, the promos, all that kind of stuff, that's really benefited Bobby Lashley. So they're not splitting up or anything silly like that. That's not happening. But I do think it's Lashley being taking himself more seriously. So in terms of this one tonight, I'm sure the match will be fine, and I'm glad to see Kingston be featured in the main event picture more, because let's face it, the way he just fell out of that picture in 2019 was a joke. This is a guy that won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 35, and he was WWE Champion for 6 months. And during that 6-month period, I mean, he barely did any jobs. This guy won clean and consecutive and all the time, and he beat big opponents. He beat Kevin Owens, he beat Randy Orton, he beat Samoa Joe, beat Dolph Ziggler. He beat big names whilst he was defending that WWE Championship. Then we know what happens against Brock Lesnar on the debut edition of SmackDown on Fox. He loses in about 8 seconds to Brock Lesnar, and then the shoddy booking of him afterwards, of a guy that was the WWE Champion for 6 months, loses to Brock in 8 seconds, and then he's just happy about it. Just, I'm back to being a tag team wrestler again. That was fun while that lasted. Well, I'm going to throw out pancakes. And you're watching at home going, where's this guy's anger? Where's this guy's fury? This is a guy, he got humiliated and he never got a rematch. He just lost, and now he's just going to go back. Well, power of positivity. There's positivity, and then there's a limit. There's a limit to all of that. It was stupid. So I've been glad to see over the course of the last few months, whether it was prior to Hell in the Cell with McIntyre, whether it's now this build to Money in the Bank, Kingston being featured in that spot once again. Because look, I've said this time and time again about Monday Night Raw, and it's true here. Monday Night Raw is really, really struggling for top babyfaces, especially to face Lashley. And I'm not one of those people that's saying Lashley should drop the championship anytime soon. I'm not. But you have to look at the roster and you say, well, who is going to challenge Bobby Lashley? The reason why we had 3 Drew McIntyre matches in a row with Bobby Lashley, and it hurt Drew, the crowd, if there was a crowd, we'll find out more tonight, but the crowd was certainly turning against Drew. I think you could tell that on social media. I think the reason they did that is because they have no one else. They looked at the roster. Vince McMahon looked at the roster and said, we don't have top baby faces on Raw that can be a credible challenge to Bobby Lashley. And I think then they looked at Kofi and said, well, Kofi's a WWE champion. He was a WWE champion in the past. And it's WWE's own fault, because if you'd have booked him strongly after he lost the WWE Championship and not turned him into a joke, he would be easily able to slide into this position against Lashley. Fortunately, he's still able to, but it could have meant so much more. Now, Kofi's not winning tonight. We know he's not winning because we know the plans for Monday, and we know the plans for SummerSlam. SummerSlam, of course, is next month in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Bobby Lashley is going to be defending the WWE Championship at that event, and a report came out earlier this week by Fightful. Sean Rossappa, Fightful, was first to break the news that Bobby Lashley is going to be defending the WWE Championship against WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg at SummerSlam. Now, I did a immediate reaction stream to that. I was so just, I don't want to say angry, but I was just so disappointed when I heard that news that I had to jump on here for a stream quickly, because I thought this is just ridiculous. So we won't go into too much detail about it, because we are previewing tonight's show, but I suppose talking about this, you do have to talk about the Goldberg plans. Again, Lashley will win tonight. I'm sure it'll be a competitive match. Will it feature some Xavier Woods interference, some MVP interference? I don't think it needs to. I think it might, but I don't think it needs to be honest. Again, the plan as of Thursday, I think this was when this news broke, the plan as of Thursday was that Goldberg was going to be making his WWE return on Monday, on Monday Night Raw in, I believe, was it Dallas? Wherever it's going to be. It's still in Texas on Monday, isn't it? Anyway, he's going to be making his return on Monday night, and it's going to be to set up his match against Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. And it is so backwards, and it's so not what people want and not what people need or have any desire in seeing. And look, I'm not one of those people that's saying that it should have been Brock Lesnar, it should have been Brock Lesnar, it should have been Brock Lesnar. Would we have liked to have seen Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley? Absolutely. Of course we do. I think everyone does. Is that realistic? We don't know. Maybe WWE reached out to Brock Lesnar and he went, nah, I'm all right. I'm happy being a butcher. I'm happy growing my hair out. I'll come back next year. Maybe WWE, because we've heard this report as well, some people within WWE are saying, well, when Brock comes back, he should probably face Roman, not Bobby. If that's the case, that's BS. That's just poor WWE creative, and I'm not a fan of that. So, okay, Brock's out of the picture. That's not WWE's fault. That's just contractual situation. Okay. Why they feel the need to pivot to Bill Goldberg, I don't know. Because once again, WWE is going back to, look, it's a stadium show. We got to sell tickets. We want ratings. Bring back Bill. Put him in the WWE Championship picture. Why? There is no logic in putting him in that WWE title picture. None. The last two matches Bill Goldberg has had inside of a WWE ring, he has lost both of them, and they've both been for world championships. Where is there any logic he should be challenging for a WWE Championship? The last time we saw Goldberg was in January of this year. He wrestled Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. He lost. In what reality is there a logic of, I can challenge for the title in January, lose, take, 7 months off, and then come back and challenge for the title again? I don't care if you're Bill Goldberg. At this point, you're a guy in your mid-50s, and you've lost more matches than you've won in your recent record, right? Lost to McIntyre, lost to Strowman. Yes, he beat The Fiend, but who else did he lose to? Yeah, beat Dolph Ziggler. Wow. Before that, lost to The Undertaker. He's lost to Brock Lesnar. This guy, all he does is lose. He loses matches now. You know, this isn't. Again, I've seen some people trying to say, well, they're padding out Bobby Lashley's CV. It's good for him to have a victory, a decisive victory over Goldberg. It would have been if it was 5 years ago, but it's not. Goldberg loses matches now. He puts guys over. It's miraculous, I know, but you're not facing the undefeatable, unbeatable Goldberg of the late 90s. Certainly not the Goldberg that when he first came back to WWE in 2016, that was kind of still not doing jobs. He's lost loads of matches. The last two matches he lost before the World Championship. Where is there any logic that he can challenge for the WWE title? If they do it again like they did in January, where Goldberg's just going to come out and go, well, you're disrespectful, I want to win the championship again. Who on earth does he think he is? And I find it laughable because, again, you could pull that off inside the Thunderdome because you control the narrative. You control the crowd reaction. It doesn't matter what we think at home because they can pipe in some crowd cheers and go, yeah, we want Goldberg back. In a live arena with a live crowd, you can't tell me there won't be people that boo, roll their eyes, or say, oh, this is BS. I don't want to see this. Because they don't, because nobody wants to see it. Now, one thing must be mentioned is that it'll be interesting to see if they do this for Money in the Bank tonight, because they certainly did do it for SmackDown, even though I pointed that out on SmackDown. People got very angry with me that I pointed this out, but a lot of people did point out on social media, and that is despite the fact on SmackDown that there was 14,000 fans inside of an arena making a ton of noise, WWE still felt the need to sweeten the crowd at certain points. They still felt the need to pipe in cheers and pipe in boos. And I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. Part of the great thing of having a crowd there is that sometimes it goes quiet. If it goes quiet, you're not doing your job properly. Find a way to make the crowd react. Find a way to make the crowd make noise. If it's quiet, it's on to the performers to actually try and make them make noise. That's how they earn their money. So for WWE to be piping in noise, and I think they'll do it on Monday. Goldberg will come out. I think the crowd will cheer for the Goldberg chants because it's like the yes chant. They just like to do it. But when they're doing the face-off with Lashley and Goldberg and all that kind of stuff, they'll pipe in some cheers and say, look, everyone went crazy for Goldberg because they want to see it. In reality, nobody wants to see it. And I guess the news has kind of made the match tonight almost a bit of an afterthought because, again, we know the outcome. That doesn't mean it's going to be a bad match. I'm looking forward to the match. But there's no doubt in my mind Bobby Lashley's even the WWE Champion tonight and he's facing Goldberg at SummerSlam, which, again, we can talk about that at length. At length later on after tonight. But as I mentioned, guys, we will be doing a watch along for tonight's show and a post-show reaction stream, so be sure to join us then. Look, guys, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston tonight at Money in the Bank? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved in the community, drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash the like on the like button too. It really does help us out here on YouTube, get the rankings, and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or have you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.